Hello, this is the Ramblings of an Undisciplined Mind podcast for Friday, November 18th, 2016. This is my last working day until after Thanksgiving, so it's kind of nice. Early on in our marriage, one of the television shows that the wife and I loved to watch was MacGyver, starring Richard Dean Anderson. And so, if you don't know anything about this show, it starred Richard Dean Anderson in mullet, no less, wearing a mullet. But he worked for a kind of a, I don't know, not quite a spy agency, but something where he's got these missions to do things. Kind of a cross between the CIA and the A-Team, maybe. But, so one of the things that really made him stand out was that he did not like guns at all. And he was always in these situations where he needed to make stuff happen, and he would make things, he would jury-rig things, and he was known for using duct tape, and he always had a Swiss Army knife, and he would just take, kind of like with the A-Team where you'd stick them in a barn, as a holding place, and they'd build a tank. It was like that, but it was much smaller, typically, and it was more using science and chemistry and whatnot. So it was a really fun show. We finally got around to watching the first episode of the remake they have coming out. The main character is MacGyver, or Mac, and there will be some spoilers, so if you're waiting to see it, if you're as backed up as we are and you're waiting to see it, spoilers. Otherwise, I'll tell you what I experienced and what we experienced, and then you can make your own decision. But we watched the first episode, and right at the very beginning, they're stealing something, a biological weapon, kind of from the James Bondish, at a large country house where a party's going on. Because they're going to sell it, there's going to be an auction in an upper room, and so Mac is there to steal this thing. And so they steal it, and they make it out alive, and they're getting back to their van, which was parked some ways away. And there was a three-person team. You had MacGyver, you had his buddy, whose name is Jack, and there was a character by that name in the book, and then there was this woman who was kind of the computer whiz that was in the van. And they get back to the van, and of course she's not in the van. I'm shocked. Not in the van, and then very quickly you find out that she's there, but she's being held at gunpoint, and the guys giving the ultimatum, give me the weapon or I'll shoot her. And Mac and her were involved, so he gives the guy the weapon, and then the guy turns around and shoots her, and then shoots Mac, and Mac falls in water. And that's how they started. And one of the things that they kept was that Mac was always doing kind of narration at certain points. And so like they show him and he's floating face down, and you're 5 minutes into this thing, so he's going to survive. He's the title character. So this might look bad, but I got better and whatnot. So we go through this thing, and he's 3 months have passed now. Mac's trying to heal from his bullet wound that I'm still trying to figure out why it didn't kill him, because it looked like it was right over his heart. Because you see him at one point with his shirt off, and you can see his scar where the bullet wound was, and he's also mourning the death of his girlfriend. But the weapon has resurfaced. Somebody's done a demonstration, which they think means that they're ready to. They found a buyer. They're ready to sell the thing. But they can't get the information they need of potential buyers off of this woman's laptop that was in the van because it's encrypted so heavily, which is one thing that would give you pause. So they find out through technological hand waving. Well, they go and get this. Jack knows this gal that's sitting in prison, but who's a total whiz at technological stuff, and they grab her, get her out of prison, and she helps them, and she's able to very quickly get the data off of the disk for them. And using a simple method that I could have thought of, and they find out, it's going down in San Francisco. So they get to San Francisco, and they're trying to break up the deal. And of course, in the course of that, MacGyver sees his dead girlfriend, who is not dead, and turns out was working with the guy who supposedly shot her with a blank. So it's kind of, it was an interesting story as it goes. It wasn't necessarily something uber original. It's kind of your typical, we need a thing. They stole the thing. We got to get it back. And geez, the person that we thought was dead is alive and was working with them. I mean, that's basically the plot of the first Mission Impossible, as far as that goes. So, yeah, that could have used that could have used a little bit more thought. The dialogue wasn't really great. There was a lot of it that was pretty not very well written, and the things that they tried to do to be surprises, weren't. So, like at the very end, they've captured the girlfriend, the ex-girlfriend at this point, I think, and they've captured the ex-girlfriend, and they have saved the day, and the ex-girlfriend is being driven someplace, and they even did like the campiest photography work on this, in that they're showing her sitting in the back seat of this SUV of some the big black government variety, and the camera goes to her, and then the camera just turns around until you can see the two people, the two agents that are sitting in the front seat, and then it pans back. I mean, all in the course of just a few seconds, and of course she's gone, and the door is slightly ajar, and the agents were like, "What?" And it's just like, yeah, couldn't see that coming. So yeah, it's got room to improve. Let's put it that way. We did, by and large, enjoy it. They included a lot of the MacGyver set pieces in it. Thankfully, the mullet was one they chose to leave out. I mean, I don't think his hair is even really all that long. But yeah, they decided not to go for the full mullet look, which I think was a good idea. They do have him sporting a Swiss Army knife, which they showed, which was cool. They didn't have him using, he did do a lot of the, kind of inventing stuff and using a little bit of chemistry to make smoke and make the fire alarm think there's a fire. Duct tape was only used once, which actually Jack used it to duct tape some guy's mouth shut. So it did have a lot of it. It did kind of have a feel. I have a feeling it won't probably have as strong an anti-gun message because Mac used to be in the military in this version. And I don't remember if he was in the previous one. Maybe he was. We didn't see him use it. Well, actually, we did see him use a gun. He was fighting a guy, and Jack threw him a gun, and so then Mac picked it up and smacked him in the head with it, quite like Ness Relevant would do, actually. So maybe, I don't know if they're going to keep that in or not. We will see. They would sometimes have it in the earlier one where somebody tried to hand MacGyver a gun, and he'd say, "No, I don't like guns." So it was very. It wasn't like it was preachy, but it was very clear that was a key aspect of his character. But yeah, MacGyver, it's As a pilot, I've seen worse. The Sword of Truth being right up there at the top of my list, I think. But I think it's got room to improve, and so the question is going to be, is it going to do so fast enough? So that's why we'll probably watch another couple, 3 more, and then we'll see what's what with that. But that's really all I had to talk about today. So I am going to let that be that. I'll be back tomorrow because we do have feedback, and I'll be talking to you then. So be seeing you.